There are two options tonight. Of course, there has to be a bit of crowd participation with anything that I do. So there are two presentations that I could give you to you tonight. I'm going to take a vote on which one it's going to be. I promise we'll stay within the 12 minutes. So the first one is why I became a chief sharer. So that's the first one I could do. The second presentation is why the sharing economy is better than Breaking Bad. I'm going to assume that quite a lot of people here know the series Breaking Bad. If you don't, just imagine your favourite ever TV series and just imagine that that's what I'm going to talk about. So, who would like to hear why I became chief sharer? Show of hands. Okay. And who would like to hear why the sharing economy is better than Breaking Bad? Okay, that definitely takes it, and which is a good job because actually that's the only set of slides that I've prepared. So thanks, Isaac. We'll go for the first slide. Okay, so the sharing economy is addictive. It's really super addictive. And why is it addictive? Because actually the more you share, the more you have. So specific example, a couple of years ago I did a house swap with my family. I've got two small kids. We went to Italy. We stayed in this amazing farmhouse in La Marche in Italy, had an extraordinary experience. We came back to our lovely home in Brighton and there were flowers on the table, a bottle of wine, gifts for the kids, gifts for me and my husband, and they'd even actually replaced the goldfish that had died with another goldfish, keeping my kids very happy. So the more you share, the more you have, case in point. We would never have been able to have that holiday if it weren't for sharing. Really a fantastic experience. So sharing economy, sharing is very, very addictive. Okay, but when you think about something like Breaking Bad, for example, well, the more that you watch Breaking Bad, is that the more you have? Not really, because as you watch each program, then you've got less to watch. There are only 6 series after all. Okay, so next slide. Millions are hooked on the sharing economy, and actually millions are literally hooked on the sharing economy. So in the UK, 65% of adults are making money trading used goods and engaging in the sharing economy. 65% of adults, that's one hell of a statistic. £4.6 billion was earned last year via the sharing economy, so you can make money and save money via the sharing economy, which you can't really do via watching Breaking Bad. I'm not talking about selling the products in it, by the way. There are 32.4 million adult sharers in the UK. Again, millions of people are doing this, so millions of people are hooked. 80% of us say that sharing makes us happy, and it does, doesn't it? The more you share, the happier you become, the weller, the more you have your well-being. So 83% of us say that we would share idle assets if it were easy. Really important point, we'd do this if it were easy. We want to share more. We're a nation who shares. Okay, next slide. Okay, the sharing economy, there is a never-ending supply. So our resources, we believe, are finite. We live on a planet of finite resources. But that's true. We live on a planet with a growing population. We'd need something like 4 or 5 planets to sustain us if we were to continue to consume at the levels that we're consuming. But what we do have is we have this never-ending supply, this open-ended potential for sharing. Every single person in this room brings something into this world. We have an unlimited potential to share, unlimited capacity. We've calculated that there are over £3.5 trillion worth of idle assets in this world. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 40,000 people a day dying because of lack of access to food, shelter and water. Meanwhile, over 3.5 trillion assets, that's everything from empty property, food that's going to landfill for really spurious reasons, extraordinary. Sharing economy, it puts the two pieces together and it makes a world that works, a system that works. That's what it's about, a never-ending supply. You can't say that with Breaking Bad. Next slide. And there are so many ways that you can share. You can swap, you can exchange, you can collectively purchase things, you can have shared ownership, you can have cooperatives, co-creation, recycling, upcycling, redistribution, renting, borrowing, lending. I mean, it's absolutely endless. Peer-to-peer, collaborative economy, circular economy. You can pay for what you use. You can get involved in microfinancing, micro-entrepreneurship, social media. Lots of us like to share that way. You can, for example, get involved in crowdfunding. CrowdShed, brilliant example of that. That's going to be launching in September. Crowdsourcing, cradle to cradle, open source, open data, user-generated content. There are millions of ways to share, and everybody can do it. It's brilliant. It's accessible. Go on, you know you want to do it. Okay, much better than Breaking Bad. Sharing is the new shopping. Of course it is. Why on earth would anybody want to pay for stuff that they're not using. The average car sits unused in the driveway for 23 hours, this is in the UK, for 23 hours and 15 minutes a day. Averagely, we're using our cars for 45 minutes, right? Ridiculous, bloody ridiculous. Why is anybody paying all of the costs that are associated with cars when they're not using this stuff? We've each got £3,500 worth of stuff in our cupboards that never see the light of day. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Actually, in a sharing economy, and the reason why sharing is the new shopping, you can have access to anything that you want, but you only pay for what you use. How smart is that? So, for example, I'm going to a party, I want to look fabulous, I can go to renttherunway.com, I can go to Girl Meets Dress, I can buy an outfit for the evening, and then it goes back. Someone else can use it. I'm accessing the things that I need when I need them at a price that I can afford. And it's also incredibly aspirational, because when I swapped my home for that home in Italy, if I'd have rented that, it would have cost me €3,500 a week. It was a gorgeous property. I could never have afforded, particularly as a social entrepreneur, let me tell you, to be able to have that extraordinary property. The sharing economy gives you access to everything you have ever wanted and more. Okay, I hope you're seeing the difference between Breaking Bad and the sharing economy. Next slide. So Jesse Pinkman, who here is a fan of Jesse Pinkman? Okay, Jesse Pinkman, right. He thinks that sharing is cool. As you can see the cakes here. Now, I have to say, in a sharing economy, the cakes are much better because we crowdsource all of the ingredients. So for anyone who likes cake, then sharing economy has to win hand down. Okay, next slide. We've got a whole generation of young people who are addicted to the sharing economy. We talk about Generation Share. 17.5 million young people, millennials, in the UK are getting engaged in the sharing economy. They're driving the sharing economy because this is a generation that are incredibly smart. They're smart, they're savvy, they're social. They know that there's no point in paying for stuff that you're not going to use. Why on earth would you want to do that? Doesn't make any sense. 51% of them would prefer to share rather than own, because owning, it's completely redundant. Why would you want to do that? It might be something your parents did, but it's not something that you need to do. What you need is access to the things that you want. You don't need to own them. 57% of Generation Share say they can find anything that they need to rent or borrow online. And you can. It's all there. 73% say that the sharing economy is important to them. Next slide. Okay, we've got Mr. Heisenberg over here. There are over 7,500 sites where you can share. The reason why I know that is because we have a directory on compareandshare.com that is free for anyone to sign up and use, that lists all of these sharing economy initiatives from all over the world. So fantastic distribution channels. Probably can't say the same for Breaking Bad products. Okay, next slide. There's even a comparison marketplace for the sharing economy, compareandshare.com. Who knew? First in the world. Quite extraordinary. And essentially what we're about is making sharing ubiquitous. Because I don't want to keep this to myself. I want people to discover this sharing economy. It's amazing. Why would you not want people to discover this? It's absolutely incredible. It's infectious. You can get anything you like at a price you can afford. Why would I not want to share that? So that's what we're doing with Compare and Share. Our vision is to open up the sharing economy in the same way that eBay opened up the second-hand goods market. That's what we want to make. We want to make this ubiquitous so that everyone can get their hands on those £3.5 trillion worth of idle assets. Why not share it? Next slide. So this is what we're about. Let's sell the message, share more, because this message is about future-proofing our world. It's about changing the way that we think and we live and we do business. Because now that people can trade with people, we are the creators of goods and suppliers of goods and services. We can do this ourselves. We can print furniture on 3D printers. We can create music and share it. We have access now. We are the means of production. This is changing the way that we think and we live and we do business. And it's about future-proofing our society because it's sustainable. It takes what we have available and those resources are shared because those resources might be finite. We have unlimited capacity to share. And that is about future-proofing our society. And this is the message that I believe we need to be sharing. Next slide. Okay, so Breaking Bad versus the sharing economy. Now, of course, there's a little bit of a con in here because, and I am going to take a vote, but because we're the sharing economy, you don't actually have to choose. You can still be a fan of Breaking Bad. You can still watch Breaking Bad and be part in the sharing economy, because the sharing economy is about access for all. Every single person in this room can access the sharing economy. There are no barriers to entry. It's open access for all. That's what it's about. Creating a fair and equitable world where people have access to the things that they need and we don't have waste. We eliminate waste because we make the world work better. So my question to you is, Breaking Bad or the sharing economy? Hands up for Breaking Bad. Okay, that's good, isn't it? And hands up for the sharing economy. So, of course, who shares wins. Thank you for sharing.